Hello, welcome back to another year of Kim and I talking about spoopy things. This year we did another, it was 15 movies, and then we did two extras. We're going to talk about which ones we like the best, which ones we like the worst. Pretty solid lineup this year. I'm Dory. This is,
Kim.
we both go by she, her pronouns. Been doing this for 4 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very exciting. We are going to talk first about we'll end the video with our I'm looking at my script down here. Just for full transparency because I'm a very transparent person. You can almost see right through me. That's how transparent I am. But anyway, so
It went dark.
what?
It went dark.
What went dark?
The screen.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't know if it was dying or not.
No, we're all dying on the inside though. So, yeah, we're just gonna read off the list. This year we didn't have any particular theme with our movies, as you're gonna note, but for next year we did pick a theme. Well, I picked a theme, and then Kim just picked movies she wanted, which I think is great because it makes for a good mix of movies. Kim and I are gonna both read off the list. I'll start. The first one was Lake Mungo.
Misery, the 1990 version.
Yeah, the original one. 1408.
And then Doctor Sleep.
Werewolf Cop.
Monster House.
Monster Squad.
Ready or Not.
I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Scooby Doo on Zombie Island.
Classic. Dawn of the Dead. The original Dawn of the Dead.
A Girl Walks Alone at Night.
The Birds.
The Shallows.
And the original Blair Witch Project. We'll get to that later. So we didn't have much of a theme, really. We just picked a bunch of movies that we were thinking about. We started off with Lake Mungo. I've been wanting to watch Lake Mungo for a while. For folks who don't know, it's a Australian psychological documentary. Would you call it a mockumentary or a documentary? I guess it's played straight, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Kind of bored me.
Yeah. So Kim and I were kind of split on this. We started off on rocky terrain for us. Because I really enjoyed this, and Kim thought it was very slow moving. Kim, what'd you think?
Slow moving, boring, and it just didn't interest me.
Didn't interest you? Yeah, I really liked the intrigue of it. I thought everybody played their parts really well. I agree, it's a very slow moving movie. You've got to be into that kind of documentary style to really appreciate it, I think. And it's okay if you don't. But yeah, I thought it was really well done. I thought all the actors did great. They play it really straight. There's not that much supernatural stuff. I thought there was going to be a lot more. It's mostly towards the end, which I mean, some people could argue that's how you should pace horror movies. Did you find any of it scary?
No.
No.
Are we gonna go through the whole list?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what made it long last year.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to be thorough. I'm trying to be thorough. I want thoroughness here.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We hashed everything out beforehand, obviously. We're consummate professionals. That was Lake Mungo. Really cool movie. For me, I really appreciated the documentary approach, but I can appreciate Kim's perspective that she found it kind of really slow. But I appreciate I liked the movement of the movie, but definitely not a strong super amazing movie or anything. Do it if you're in for a chill horror movie, I guess, in a weird way. Kim, I gave it a 4. Kim gave it a 3. Can you still stand by that? Sounds more like a 2 for you.
I think it's more like a 2.
More like a 2.
I mean, honestly, I don't remember it much.
Yeah, we're recording this on the 20th of November, and we watched this October 1st or 2nd or something.
Yeah.
So it's been over a month for us. Yeah, that's the tough part of doing these videos. We have to find time for the videos, and by the time we do, sometimes we don't remember the movies very well. But I remember enjoying it a lot. And I love the Australian accent, so that's a point in its favor. But we'll buck that down to a 2 for Kim.
Next is Misery.
Yeah, Kim, let's talk about Misery.
It was a great movie, but that wasn't slow at all. It started off pretty action packed. Kathy Bates, right?
Yeah, Kathy
Bates. I
really
love Kathy Bates.
She was incredible in this movie. We both said basically she deserved a Grammy or Academy Award. I always get them mixed up. Academy Award for this, and then we looked it up, and she did, and deservedly so. Kathy Bates steals the show. Both of us felt though after the action packed beginning, it does kind of drag a little bit here and there. Momentum and pacing became kind of an issue. You could also see some of the twists. Plus, they killed some of my favorite side characters. Do you remember that married couple? I know all cops are bastards, but I really, really liked that sheriff. He was very funny. And I mean, like, I don't know, sheriffs in a small town who don't actually do much, are like the least bastardy of cops. So I don't know, I kind of liked him, and he had like a fun dynamic with his wife, and they were kind of on the outs, but they also loved each other. It was a classic dynamic, but I thought it worked really well in the movie. And then, spoilers, he dies towards the end. We're not going to do too many spoilers about movies throughout this, but yeah, it's only a side character anyway. But yeah, I really liked it. Did you have any good favorite characters besides Kathy Bates?
Um, Honestly, Kathy Bates was probably the only one I really
I
liked
mean, yeah,
because what was the guy's name who was hurt?
I don't remember his name.
Yeah, the one that she was helping
Helping.
um was he was okay.
He was good, but you could tell he's just a stand-in for Stephen King, and just him kind of reacting to his a toxic fan base. Which, good thing that's not relevant in the 21st century, huh? Woo! We both gave it a 4 out of 5. Very good movie, very solid. Kathy Bates, incredible. Deserved all the praise that she got.
Next movie.
The next movie was 1408. We watched this with a friend. This movie was painfully average. I remember this very well. I don't know, Kim, how well you remember this.
I remember it because I've seen it more than once.
Yeah, Kim has shame that she's dealing with right now. But
I have this movie on DVD.
Yeah, so she has a lot of shame that she's dealing with right now, and we are going to seek psychiatric help for her once this is done.
My mom actually loves this movie.
Okay, all right, so we're going to do a double booking for Kim and her mom, but I digress. Digression Jones over here. But yeah, 1408 is a movie. Who's the lead actor? I can't remember his name. He's not really famous anymore. He's not really in any movies.
No, he isn't.
But anyway, he is playing a character, another washed up author. It's such a trope in Stephen King movies. Or is this this is a Stephen King film? Yeah. So we watched 2 Stephen King films back to back, and actually, based on Stephen King books. And yeah, it was okay. Like, I don't know. It was the most average of average movies. I just thought it was painfully okay. The acting was fine.
The graphics were not that great.
The CGI was really bad. Which is what
they have multiple endings.
They have multiple. This is good point about that. This is what pisses me off about this movie. This fucking average film does not deserve like 4 or 5 endings that it has, with one clearly superior to all the others. It's the one where she realizes that all of it was real, right? And then she starts crying or whatever.
Yeah, that's the one
That's the one that's the best, clearly the best. But they made like 5 different endings. And then there was like the downer ending that they took out of the theater, and then there was the one where it's the better ending, the happier. I won't go into details because I said we're going to try not to spoil too much, but it's a super old movie at this point. Not super old, but oldish.
What we give it for a rating?
I gave it a 3. You get a 2.5. Yeah. I think both ratings are fair. This is not a very good movie. It's okay if you have an hour and a half to spare and you don't mind Stephen King's Leftovers. I've got a film for you.
Makes me sad to think I really loved this movie when I was a kid.
It makes me sad too, and honestly, I'm gonna get a divorce. So
we're not married yet.
We're not married ever at this point.
Next is Doctor Sleep.
Hell yeah, this movie fucking ruled. Kim and I had no expectations for this film. Both of us were not sure. If you've seen our previous videos, you know that we're not fans of The Shining. I'm very sorry. We don't really care for The Shining. I didn't think The Shining was very good. It's very slow. Jack Nicholson plays the same damn character he does in every single fucking film. He's crazy and angry, and he's attacking his wife. Like, okay. There's some good stuff in The Shining for sure. I mean, the blood scene is iconic and whatnot. They even reference it in this film, but there's definitely some throwbacks towards the end of The Shining, which I thought were good and tasteful. But yeah, Kim, talk a little bit about this. I've already gone on.
I thought it was a really good movie. But I really wanted to read the book first, but because I heard the book was amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it had a good storyline, and it was kind of confusing at first. But yeah, you get to know it, you get to understand like as you get closer to the end.
Yeah, I think they explain the lore and stuff better. They explain what The Shining is in more detail, the shine. When people have shine. There's just a really good dynamic between Ewan McGregor's character, which
Yeah, the
um,
actors were amazing in
yeah,
this
the
movie.
actors were incredible. The villains were incredible. They had really good motives. Everybody was great. I think the only reason we didn't give this a five was a couple spots. It felt a little slow, but that's really nitpicking, honestly.
Yeah.
This, I mean, really, I'd give this a five sooner than I'd give it a four. I think this was an excellent, excellent film with very few imperfections. I'd heartily recommend it to any Stephen King film aficionado or fan. Um, yeah, did you have any favorite moments, Kim?
Um, okay, so to be honest, it's one of the probably the saddest parts. But it's when they killed this little kid.
Right. Oh man, that was brutal.
Like
Yeah, this little kid.
it was like a terrible scene, but it was actually really good,
It was
well
it
written.
was very well written, very well done. The
I
CG
really, yeah,
the CG effects are really good. What were we gonna
I
say?
didn't think they were actually. Never mind, we might give spoilers.
Yeah. Well, you didn't think what?
They were gonna kill the.
Oh, yeah. Well, they did. There's definitely some child murder in this film, and that's what makes it great. Honestly, nothing brings a family together closer than murder. Great. We both gave it a 4.5 out of 5, but yeah, I mean, again, I would rather give it a 5 out of 5 than a 4.
Yeah.
Next up, we're going to talk about honestly one of my favorite films on the list, even though it's not particularly good. Yeah. All right, Cam, get your feelings about Werewolf Cop out of the way, so I
It
can come in.
was. I mean, I didn't like it that much. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's not like it was terrible. It was just like subpar.
So again, ACAB, I get it, but man, I got a soft spot in my heart for really schlocky horror comedy that make fun of cops that don't take themselves very seriously. I mean, like, there are problems with this film for sure. I understand if people don't like it. It's obviously a very niche audience, but I'm that fucking niche. I love this film. It's not a great film by any means, but it's a good film, and I think it's funnier than it has any right to be. It's better than it has any right to be.
And the bloody scenes were pretty, like when he was tearing off his skin.
Yeah, the werewolf transformations were incredible. I
There's
don't.
blood everywhere.
Yeah, and then once you actually saw the werewolf, it could look kind of
Dumb.
funny.
Looked kind of dumb.
It looked kind of bad, but it's a B movie. I think it's a self-aware B movie. I think that's fine. They can get away with that. It's not American Werewolf in London or
Yeah.
whatever. You know, they're not aiming for like authenticity. I thought it was great.
What did I
I
give
thought
it?
it was good.
I gave it a 3.5.
No, I gave it a 3.5,
Oh,
and
okay.
then you just thought it was okay. You gave it a 3.
Oh, okay.
There's some parts I don't like. He goes after people who are selling drugs, and he like goes after somebody who's like graffitiing and stuff. I just think those are like not super bad crimes,
Hmm.
depending on the drugs, obviously. Like I don't know, like gets into politics and stuff, but like yeah. I just not obviously I don't agree with what cops do. So yeah, some of this movie fell flat for me. But I think overall there were cool moments and there were some cool twists. Like there was actually cool twists and lore. There's actually a sequel. I'm not sure if we'll ever watch it, but the sequel looks pretty good too. So I might try to convince Kim to watch Werewolf Cop 2.
Well, we can do it. Next is Monster House. This is my pick.
Yes, Monster House was Kim's pick. I should point out that Lake Mungo was mine. Misery was hers. 1408 was
Mine.
hers. Doctor Sleep was mine.
Yep.
Werewolf Cop was obviously mine. And then Monster House is Kim's. Yeah, I had never watched this film. I think Kim watched it when
Yeah.
it first came out. You can definitely tell this is a late 2000s, early 2010s movie. It really feels like it. I'm not saying it feels super outdated because I mean we're only in the 2020s or whatever, but it definitely like
It's a
feels
fun movie for a kid.
right. I agree. It definitely feels like a product of its time in a weird way, just because of the cell phones and the way that some of them are talking and some of the cultural references and stuff. But I don't think it takes away from the film or whatever. I think this is a fine film. It's probably a great film for kids. It's just every Monster House movie you've ever seen. It's with some cool moments here and there. Um, yeah, I don't. There's a bit of protagonist syndrome where, of course, he has to get the girl and stuff. That's kind of overdone, and I was like, whatever. Um, but overall, I thought this movie was okay. It was fun enough. It passed the time. I thought it was better than 1408.
I mean, it was entertaining at least.
Yeah, it was entertaining. It had nice moments. We'll move
Right.
on. Not too much to say about this movie, honestly. If you've got kids, it's a great movie for them. Adults, I don't know. If you really want to see it, it's not bad at all. 3.5 for both of us. Next up we watched Monster Squad.
No, this one's a doozy.
Yeah. So, we just talked about a movie that's a product of its time. And it was only in what, the late 2000s, early 2010s. This is in the 80s.
This reminds me of a knockoff of The Goonies.
This is very much like I'm gonna pretend I'm Steven Spielberg without being Steve. I'm gonna move my mic a little bit. I'm gonna pretend I'm Steven Spielberg without actually being Steven Spielberg. Sorry about that. Yeah, it feels like a cheesy Steven Spielberg knockoff that happens to have monsters. I will say there are some funny moments. There are some cool moments from the cast, but Kim, let's talk about the elephant in the room. What was really bad about the first 20 minutes of the film?
Like the sexist stuff?
The
Or
sexist stuff, the ableism, the perv
fat
stuff,
shaming?
the what?
Fat
The
shaming?
fat shaming stuff, the it just has aged horribly. The kids who are supposed to be the good guys are so terrible. I don't really want to root for them. Now when they actually get to brass tacks, that is hunting monsters, the film's better. I like it a little more. But it's mostly just because we're not talking about the kids' personality anymore. Like they're just horrible. Like, and I get that kids were probably like this in the 80s. I understand that. I'm not saying it's unrealistic or that even matters in a monster movie. But it just takes me out of it. And look, I'm okay with a few things that are outdated here and there in an 80s movie. I get it, different time. I don't find that an excuse or reason or whatever. But yes, I understand it was more commonplace and more accepted back then to be kind of a dick about this stuff, sexism and ableism and whatnot. But it just happened a lot in a row, and it was obnoxious. And I was like, how am I supposed to like these kids if they're just fucking terrible?
Yeah.
Kim, what do you think?
Um, yeah, didn't really. It was okay. I mean, honestly, I don't. Did I have COVID when we watched this?
You might have. Oh, yeah. So, Kim, this is about the time where Kim and I both got COVID. We have not gotten COVID in the almost 3 years that COVID's been around. But we finally got it. I'm not exactly sure how, but we just got our booster shot. Well, the second booster shot, the bivalent one. So, but yeah, we had COVID during some of these movies. So some of these might be hazier than others for more than one reason. But yeah, what did you think?
I mean, I still liked it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it had good moments,
Hmm.
but I think overall it just not a movie I'm going back to. 2.5 from both of us. All right, let's get into some good stuff. Kim,
Yeah.
talk about Ready or Not.
Ready or Not is such a good movie. Such a good movie. It's got comedy, horror, blood. It's like the storyline is great, and then the ending is amazing.
The ending's incredible because they build up to this twist within a twist that you think is going to happen, and then they actually play it straight, and you're like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah,
This
so
movie's
good.
incredible. This is another one that I would sooner give a 5 than a 4.5.
What did I give it?
We both gave it a 4.5.
Oh, okay.
The only problem we have, and this is a bit of a nitpick, but it bothers me throughout the film, so I had to take something away from here. Is just the motivation feels a little weak for this entire thing to be happening. They explain it and they do address it like once or twice, but it's very brief.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing. Like, why can't they just let people live?
Yeah, right. Like they say, like, oh well, another family's house burned down, but they never like elaborate, like, oh, was it discovered to be related to that or whatever. Like it's a nitpick, but it is something that bothered me throughout it. But otherwise, perfect film. I mean, the pacing is excellent. It's only an hour and a half long movie. The main actress is terrific. She is great. The blood is excellent. The characters are great. The villains are terrific.
And it's got some comedy in it.
And it's got a lot of good, like, quick comedy that does not undermine the horror, or vice versa.
What's her name again?
I don't remember her name, but she was excellent.
Yeah, she was really good.
Ready or Not is the name of this film, and it was terrific. So super recommend it. 4.5 out of 5 from both of us.
Let's move on.
Let's move on to
Yeah.
So Kim and I love to say I know what you did, and then one of the other of us will say last summer because we're super funny.
Dorks.
I was tired of that joke, and I was like, you know what, Kim? Sick of this shit. Let's watch this fucking film so we can stop making that joke. Now, side note, did that actually stop us from doing the joke, Kim?
No, I still do it.
Of course. So, we watched this fucking mediocre movie for no goddamn reason, basically. These characters suck. They are awful people, except for, I guess, the main character, but she's not great either. Um, there's a lot of, like, famous actors who aren't famous yet. Like, Freddie Prinze Jr. is in this. And who else is in it?
Sarah Michelle
Sarah
Gellar.
Michelle Gellar, before she was Buffy famous.
And what about Jennifer Hewitt?
Jennifer Love Hewitt is in it as well.
Then we got, what's his name? Ryan, no.
No, that's not Ryan Gosling.
No, it's not.
I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, this movie was not good.
There was no horror to it. It wasn't scary at all.
It wasn't scary. The guy with the hook was just not a good villain. He just wasn't intimidating. He wasn't intimidating. He's about as intimidating as bunny ears over Kim. I mean, it's just like, it wasn't good. I don't know who thought a fisherman was going to be fucking scary. The twist isn't good either. I like the mystery. I think the mystery of who done it is the only thing that keeps this movie afloat. Because it's in a seaside town. No, it's not good. I don't think it's worth going back to. Not even for 90s nostalgia.
Was it long too?
It wasn't long.
It felt long.
It felt long. It feels like a long movie, but it's only an hour and a half. It's about as long as Ready or Not, if maybe a little longer or shorter. But it's not a good film. We both gave it a 2.5. It's mediocre. It's not like terrible. You're not gonna I don't think you'll massively regret watching it, but I don't think it's worth watching either.
Scooby Doo on Zombie Island.
Yeah, what do you think of this one, Kim?
I loved it.
Roo.
Yeah, I love Scooby Doo.
Yeah, this was I Know What You Did Last Summer was my recommendation, I think.
Yeah.
Ready or Not was Kim's. Scooby-Doo was mine. I watched this as a kid. I loved this movie. The idea that the zombies, spoilers, are real, but it's literally in the trailer. The idea that zombies were actually real, that the monsters were actually real. I felt like as a kid, you felt like you'd been waiting for that all your life.
Yeah.
Like it felt like such a perfect thing to finally do. But yeah, did you have any favorite moments or?
Well, basically, my favorite moments are always with Shaggy and Scooby because they're always hungry, and they're the comedy of the movie, all the shows, and yeah, it makes me hungry when I'm watching them eat. It's funny.
Yeah, they eat so much, and you don't realize it as a kid because you're like, oh, that's funny because they're eating impossible amounts of food. But as an adult, you're like, holy fucking shit! Like, what is their goddamn what is their system like? Because Shaggy's lanky as hell, and then Scooby is like, yeah, he's a Great Dane, but I mean, like, I don't understand what their metabolism is like. But anyway,
yeah, it was a good movie. I really enjoyed the fact that it was real, like at the end.
Yeah,
and
I mean, it's kind of a shock to your system,
yeah,
especially even as an adult, a little bit. Like they're like, oh, I guess. Like these things are real and everything is real in this world, and in terms of monsters and stuff, we're thinking about watching the sequel to this, or it's not a sequel. We're not going to watch the Scooby Doo on Zombie Island 2 one that came out a couple years ago, but the Witches one that came out a few years later, we might watch at some point. Very appropriate for Halloween, obviously. Scooby Doo in general is great for Halloween, but yeah, I grew up a big Scooby Doo fan. If that's not obvious, I loved Scooby Doo. Where Are You? I loved a pup named Scooby Doo. I even love Scooby and Scrappy. Please save my soul. I love the live action films when I was a kid and / teenager. So I stopped running. I started to run out of excuses. But yeah, Scooby Doo is such a classic. This is like a near perfect Scooby movie. Obviously, it's not winning any fucking Academy Awards or anything, and some of the animation's a little rough looking back on it, but it's fine. Absolutely highly recommend this film. This film is like a top tier like Scooby Doo movie, animated.
We both gave it 4.5. Yeah.
We both gave it a 4.5. Next one was Dawn of the Dead.
This actually entertained me. What did I give it for a rating?
Kim actually liked it more than I did. Kim, you want to talk about this movie a little bit?
Well, I love that it was based in a mall, right? It was based in the mall.
Yeah.
And just like the zombies didn't they didn't look, I don't know, the CGI wasn't that great.
Yeah, the special effects, I mean, it's worth pointing out this was the
1978, right?
1978, I think, or early 80s at best. So the effects were even worse than they were in the in what am I saying? Trying to say they're even worse than they were in like Monster Squad and stuff like that, or like 1408. Obviously, 1408 was like mid 2000s. Um, it just doesn't look very good. A lot of it's physical, like actual like props and stuff, but it just doesn't hold up very well. Um,
I loved how they were like shopping in the mall and stuff. That was
yeah,
fun. And then at the end, there was, should I say it? There was a gang that came in.
yeah. There's some gang warfare. If you're big into AEW, you'll love it because there's lots of gang warfare in AEW too. You know, the Young Bucks and Lucha Brothers. Anyway, um, gang wars. But yeah, yeah, it was good. I mean, I don't. It was fine. It wasn't good. It was fine. I thought the commentary and commercialism was overwrought. I've all heard it before. People who buy things are zombies. I feel like that's honestly patronizing, and
Wasn't this a really long movie too?
it was a long
It's
ass
like two
movie.
and a half
It
hours.
should have been. We watched the director's cut. It should have been an hour. It should have been an hour shorter. Honestly, I think I would have bumped it up to a 3.5, maybe even a 4. I don't think there's anything wrong with the movie. I just don't think it blows well. Besides the effects and stuff, or the physical whatever. I can't think of the word. Physical props and stuff. I think the commentary and commercialism, like I said, it's overdone. And, I didn't care for it that much. Excuse me.
Let's
Um,
move on.
yeah,
So this one is A Girl Walks Alone at Night,
and this was my pick.
and it was terrible. Some people really like this movie, and I don't get the hype. It was boring. Um, they made it look like it was set back in a long time ago because it's black and white, but that's not the bad part. The bad part is just like there's no horror to it. It wasn't scary at all.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's definitely a conversation to be had about.
I was playing on my phone while watching this movie.
Yeah, this was for Kim. This was the worst film, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I gave it a 2. I appreciate what this film's trying to do. I love that it's an international film. I love that this is like I think it's Persian or something. I can't remember exactly. But I love what it's trying to do, but it just doesn't work. And it feels really slow. The movie's only an hour and a half, I think, but it felt much longer.
Yeah.
The characters aren't that interesting. They all feel like a cutout. The morality of it is like very like anti-sex work, or it felt like that to me. Maybe it's just anti-pimp, but anti-sex work, anti-drugs, like just very morality favored. Everyone that the vampire goes after is evil and bad because they're selling drugs or they're engaged in sex work or something.
At one point, she even like stopped a kid and like told him he was bad.
Yeah, like terrified him, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you traumatized that kid for the rest of his life. And then she also like killed a homeless man at one point, and I'm like, I get that she's an anti-hero, but that's just villainous. Like, that's not. So the morality of this felt all off. I didn't really sympathize. I thought the ambiguous ending, was cool, I guess, but also kind of left me feeling like, okay, what was the point? Like, he knows what she did, and he's still not doing anything about it. So I don't know.
Let's move on.
Yeah. All right. Let's just move on.
The
I gave it. She gave it a 1. I gave it a 2. The Birds. Appropriately enough, we watched The Birds on Peacock. Kim, what do you think of The Birds?
Oh, really good movie. Really good. It was funny too, and
It was
this.
surprisingly witty and funny. It had a lot of good like little bits of comedy and dialogue.
I mean, it actually made me a little bit afraid of birds.
Yep. I remember the next day I saw like a kind of a swarm of birds around an area, and I was kind of like, okay, just walk slowly. Just walk slowly. They can't see you. They can't see you. Alfred
What did
Hitchcock is dead.
we said the main character? She's very, what was it?
Petty.
Yeah.
This film, if you think about this film, it's completely based on pettiness. There's this like lawyer or whatever who basically like finds this woman who has been causing like trouble through her pranks and stuff like that. I guess she just loves pranking people because she's rich and has nothing else to do. So she decides to follow him to his vacation home where he lives with his mom and play a prank on him. It's just a prank, bro. So I just I don't know. This woman goes to extreme lengths, and then she ends up, of course, enemies to lover dynamic, which I thought was terrific.
Yeah, me too.
I thought that was really well done. The worst part of this movie is unfortunately the birds themselves. They
Yeah, they.
don't look very good. They look okay, especially for like the time period. I know that there are some real birds mixed in, but the ones that are not real are very noticeable, and they're mixed in with the real ones, so it can make things a bit mishmashy. Um, but yeah, I don't know anything else about the birds.
No, no, just it was a good movie.
Yeah, it was a great movie. Highly recommend. Watch it on Peacock, appropriately enough. Just watch out for birds. All right, we'll talk about The Shallows. This was my pick. Watch this one on YouTube. We watch a lot of them on YouTube. We both thought this was above average shark movie. Basic premise: woman, person
Gets trapped and
who's the actress? She's married to
Blake Lively.
Blake Lively. She is married to Ryan Reynolds,
Yeah.
aka Deadpool. She gets trapped on this little island, and the shark keeps like going around the waters trying to wait for her to go to shore so he can have some food. It just doesn't sit right with me because that's not what a shark would do. The shark would get bored eventually and leave. And also, if the shark doesn't smell any more blood, and she was bleeding, but I believe she staunched it or something. But
She stitched it. Yeah.
she stitched it, so it should have left. It should have left to go find other prey. So there's some parts of this. I know I'm being a bit anal retentive about this, but I, as someone who knows a lot about sharks,
Oh my God.
what
It's a bug.
Oh, as someone who knows like a lot about sharks, no, this is not a bird, or a shark. I just didn't find certain parts of this movie very believable. It wouldn't be a big deal, but the movie kept trying to ground itself in reality. Like, oh, if I time out the shark's like, course around this island, then I only need like 30 seconds to get to this next part, and then 15 seconds. It was trying to base itself in reality pretty heavily. And so
It's just a survival movie.
it's just a survival movie, and she's fine.
It wasn't really a horror, but I mean,
It had horror elements, but yeah, it's more of a shark movie than a horror movie.
because I never really thought Jaws was that scary.
Sometimes Shaw's with those prices, it can be scary, Kim. You never know. All right, let's it's gonna be okay. All right, we're gonna have to talk about it, Kim. I'm sorry, we're gonna have to talk about it.
Last one.
The Blair Witch Project sucks.
Yeah, but we give it a 2.
We both gave it a 2. Kim, I've been talking for a bit. You talk about why this movie sucks.
Well, the main character whines, cries, and it's just so loud. And the movie's not real, obviously, but they wanted people to believe it was real. And then there was this whole scandal, but yeah.
They're too close to the cameras.
Oh, and there's no actual witch. What the fuck is up with that?
Well, okay, spoilers.
Oops, sorry.
That's all right, whatever. But yeah, there's no actual witch. The ending of the movie, I think, actually is kind of cool. It's the most ambivalent of the 4 alternate endings, and I'm glad they kept it because it is kind of a cool ending. It's kind of, you're not sure what happened and what's going on, but that's cool. They're just really fucking annoying is the thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And everyone's blaming Mike, and you know what? Like, Mike was right. The map wasn't doing anything for them. I don't think he should have fucking thrown it away or thrown it in the river. That was absolutely ridiculous. But they got on Mike way too much. They weren't getting anywhere anyway.
And then the woman has such a big ego, thinking that she knows where she's going.
Yep.
That was annoying too.
When you get
get over yourself.
Like, pro tip, like when you get lost in the fucking forest that is supposedly haunted, stay where you are. Like, eventually people will find you. And if they don't find you, it's not going to help you to, like, fucking go around in circles and circles. This movie just, it has some moments that are cool. Like, I think the ending is cool. I actually liked it better in the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so when it was just a chill documentary. I liked that more than I did when they got trapped in the... So it's just, how many times can you do the same thing? They're trapped in the woods. They go in their tents. They see spooky things at night. They wake up. They're more upset. People keep getting kidnapped or killed or whatever. It's like, it just got boring. It just got boring. It wasn't very well done. Yeah. We don't like the Blair Witch Project. No. It hasn't held up well. I think there's a lot of better found footage films than this.
Do you want to do favorites next, or do you
Let's talk about
do
the
you want
extras.
extras?
Let's
Okay.
talk about the extras first. Neither of them are in our favorites anyway, so I think it works out.
Yeah. So
Um,
first one.
yeah, Kim, let's get into Halloween Ends.
Yeah. Boo.
You a ghost?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd be scarier than that movie.
Yeah, you would. This movie's been super controversial. Michael Myers is not in the film a lot. A lot of people don't like that. I get that. I liked that they tried something new, and for the first 30 minutes, I was with the film, and then
Yeah.
it just went so bad. It just went in weird places that didn't feel well established. It ended in a very convoluted way. I just don't think this film. I don't know what happened in this trilogy. I like the first one a lot, and then Kills is not good. And this is like arguably better than Kills, but worse in some ways too. I don't know how to feel about this film still. Even a month afterwards, I definitely won't watch it
I
again.
mean,
But
for spoilers, spoilers.
yeah, spoilers.
Yeah. The the ending was like surreal, because it was weird because he dies.
Yeah, it was mob justice, and he gets thrown into the grinder, and he just dies, and it's like that was really anticlimactic.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish this film had worked. I think that there are interesting themes this movie is trying to tell. I'll put a link for the podcast where I talk about this, but it tries something new, and I appreciate that. But then it just kills the new things anyway, or it gets rid of them, or downplays them, and it's like I don't see the point of this film. I don't get it. I don't know what happened. The first film was so good. What went wrong? Why did this trilogy like fail so bad?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about Scream, a much better
Yeah,
movie.
much better.
Uh,
I really like this movie. It was it kind of like focuses. It does have people from the past. The
Franchise
yeah,
or original characters or whatever.
yeah. Like they have Patricia Arquette and what's his name?
Do you mean David Arquette?
It, don't they have her too? Patricia
Oh,
Arquette.
they might have Patricia
Yeah,
Arquette.
remember she was the news
Oh, they're
reporter.
married in real life. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Fuck me.
but
Fuck them.
it was really good though because I don't know how to say this. You know what I'm trying to say, right?
You haven't said a damn word, so no, I don't know.
you go.
Okay. I thought this movie was incredibly good. Exceeded my expectations. Almost as good as Scream 1. I think I like Scream 2 more than Scream 1, and this is almost as good as Scream 1. I so it goes like Scream 2, 1, and then this Scream 5 or whatever you want to call it. Or Scream 2022. That's the one we watched. We've been meaning to watch this like all year. It was really good. The themes were solid. The self-rental stuff was heavy, but it wasn't too much. I mean, every now and then I was like, okay, like I get it. But for the most part, it was funny and well done,
Very entertaining.
and very entertaining. And the twists were good. I think Kim and I both called who the killers were at the end. But I love the whodunit stuff. I'm super big into that. I talked about with I Know What You Did Last Summer. Like that part of it really made me entertained and kept me glued. So yeah, we both gave this a 4 out of 5. Did you remember what you were trying to say?
No, you already said it.
Oh,
The
what
part
part?
where the references.
Oh, the references. Yeah. They can be a bit heavy-handed at times, but that's Scream for you. R.I.P. Wes Craven. It's just great film. Great film. Okay. Kim, what were your top 3 movies?
Ready or Not, Doctor Sleep, and Scooby Doo.
And my top 3 were Ready or Not, Doctor Sleep, and Scooby Doo. We had the same top 3, and this is the first time that's ever happened to us in the same order too. We definitely disagreed on a few movies on this list, but overall, like when it came to our favorites, yeah, we were pretty much step in line. We thought all of these movies were near perfect.
Yeah.
Again, Scooby Doo is like for what it is. It's an excellent kids film. It's a great film for
I think
adults too.
anyone can watch that.
Anyone could enjoy it. It's for the whole family, Kim.
Um,
And our least favorites were. Let me see if I can find them. Our least favorites were. Well, you can already probably tell if you've been paying attention. But I Know What You Did Last Summer. A Girl Walks Alone at Night. And Blair Witch were definitely our least favorites. So we had similar least favorites as well. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap up now. We're gonna talk about are movies for next year. Excuse me, not next week. Jesus Christ, I need a break. But for next year, I will read off my picks, and then Kim will do hers, and then we'll both talk about our shared movie, and then we'll talk about any ones that we're looking forward to in particular. You're going to notice a theme in my picks very quickly. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, Friday the 13th, 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Is that 8? I thought it was 5. Whatever. The Bride of Frankenstein, Psycho 2, and 28 Weeks Later. If you can't guess the theme is underrated or shitty sequels to beloved horror originals.
Then mine picks?
Yeah.
I picked ones I thought were gonna be mine are completely random, but
yeah. I think that's good. It makes it diversifies a bit.
I've only seen three of the movies here. Okay, never mind. Okay, so I have Pearl, which is a new movie. The Purge, Invasion of the Body Snatchers,
the original.
Firestarter, the original. Practical Magic, Jennifer's Body, and Casper.
1995. And our shared movie is The Addams Family, the one from 91. So we're very excited about that. Da-na-na-na. Wait, Kim, can you do it? Da-na-na-na. Thank you.
You can't do that?
I can't snap.
Oh.
And this is the order of films that we're going to do. The Purge, 28 Weeks Later, Practical Magic, Season of the Witch, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Bride of Frankenstein, Casper, Addams Family, Firestarter, Psycho 2, Jennifer's Body, Freddy's Revenge, The Pearl, Jason Takes Manhattan, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre number 2. So that was it. We kept it under an hour, just like I told Kim we would. It was even under 45 minutes, so Kim, eat it.
Yeah, last year we went 52 minutes.
Yeah, last time we did 52 minutes. I do feel like we breezed through some of these movies, but I feel like most of it speaks for itself. That's
about it.
That's about it. I think we're gonna go.
Toodaloo.
And no, fuck! I was just about to hit the button, and I. All right, everybody. I hate you so much.
Stop it.
You know what, Kim? I know what you did this fall. Yeah, she's flipping me off. Real mature, Kim. Real mature. See you in hell.